His running back gave up the sack.
Exactly. Fire them all. This is, and look, obviously we are, going overboard and that kind of stuff. But this is what Clemson fans have turned to. They have turned into this psychotic, out for blood fan base when you took the number 3 team in the nation to overtime. Help me out, okay? I need you to talk us off the ledge here.
Hey, I'm with you, man. I think the fan base is just going, I don't know if it's so much that they lost. It's just, for the second time in a row against a Power 5 team, you feel like you leave out of Death Valley feeling like the better team lost. So I get it. It's frustrating. It's frustrating, man. And it feels like this specific team this year can't get out of its own way. And everybody wants to know why. It's got to be this guy's fault or this guy's fault or their fault or his fault. He's got to go. He's got to go. He's got to go. This team's young in spots. particularly at quarterback and the skill spots out there at receiver, minus Bo Collins, not a lot of experience. Antonio Williams didn't play Saturday. He's outside of Bo Collins. He's your most experienced receiver, and he's only been around for a year. You only got one senior on that offensive line. It's not the most experienced bunch on that side of the ball. And, they tend to make, when they do make a mistake, it's at the most critical spots, and it's the most back-breaking kind of mistake you can think of. I don't know if firing everybody is the right answer. I think, you'd like to think anyways that these guys will play their way out of it at some point.
Yeah, hang on though. I sat in this green room, and watched your show last night, and everyone has someone to blame. Tyler Grisham can't develop talent. Jeff Scott is the only guy on God's green earth who can coach wide receivers at Clemson, you know, and CJ Spiller can't recruit. Thomas Austin is a loyalty guy. Wes Goodwin can't coach his way out of a situation. Here's the thing though. None of that holds water when you actually dive into the stats and the understanding of stuff. It honestly, I sat here last night, and watched your show, and it was all I could do to not click the little button and jump in and start, laying into something. Because, it really is, I guess, shocking is the right word for the overreactions that we are seeing.
Yeah, I saw people Saturday night, Sunday saying Garrett Riley needs to pack his bags and go back where he came from. Man, I think that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I thought, this offense is head and shoulders better than it's been the past 2 years. It's not even comparable. It's a night and day difference. You take those back-breaking turnovers out, and this offense has been phenomenal for the most part. No problems moving the ball up and down the field. They still got some things to clean up in the red zone, can be a little bit more efficient there. But we're talking about 4 games into a new scheme. Those kind of things are to be expected. After that offensive performance Saturday, I don't know why anybody want to tell Garrett Riley to go pack his bag because he caught because a third down play had a run pass option. Pretty much every play's got some kind of option built into it. And if you want to cut right down to it, the decision Cade Klubnik made to throw the ball out there was because he had 3 receivers on that side versus 2 Florida State defensive backs. So it wasn't like it was some mind-boggling, terrible decision. Clemson had the numbers out there. That play should pick up a yard. If your wide receivers are blocking, but for whatever reason, I don't know if there was a miscommunication or they were surprised the ball got thrown out there, but one of those guys didn't even get blocked at all. And the whole thing just got blown up. I don't care if there's a run pass option on third down. I like the quarterback being able to have that kind of freedom. Klubnik so far as I thought he made pretty much the right decisions all day long. Probably should have handed that ball off. We all know that. Let's not argue that. We should have handed that one off. But for the most part, I think he's done excellent. And making the right reads when it comes to the RPOs. I don't see the big deal of having an RPO called there. And thinking that Garrett Riley's the problem, that's just mind-blowing. Mind-blowing to me. And I know Tyler Grisham's, he's one guy that the fans like to point out to. And I've been as critical as anybody of wide receiver play the past 2 years. It's fallen off a cliff. I've never went as far as saying it's all Tyler Grisham's fault, but I mean, there's something amiss with the wide receivers. And I
Yeah.
thought about this thing a lot Sunday, and I started thinking about all the guys that are transferred out. It's like I talked about last night. You look at all these guys that's transferred out, not one of them, not a single one has gone on to produce anywhere else. You got one at Indiana, can't even get on the field at Indiana, one of the highest rated receivers in his class. One of Jeff Scott's pet projects went with him to South Florida, never was able to get on the field. A former 5-star goes to Miami, hadn't done anything while he's there. Another one's at North Carolina State, who was very highly recruited, high
Yeah.
4-star coming out of high school. He's not doing anything there. None of them are starting. Some of them aren't even in the too deep. And I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around the fact that it's all on the position coach at Clemson. These guys are going on to play under other position coaches, still aren't producing. So it's got, maybe it's more about they missed on a bunch of these guys. They just flat out missed.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with the in the evaluation somewhere, and it's still probably not as simple as that, because it's not like Clemson was the only one after all these guys. These were highly rated, highly recruited guys that were being chased after by all the big boy schools for the most part. So I mean, I just think for me, it's more complex than saying, hey man, this guy can't develop players, or this guy can't evaluate talent. I think there it's just more deeper rooted than that.
Yeah. And for all those saying that Garrett Riley needs to head back, I threw up some stats in the chat last night. And I want to go over those right now. Through the first 4 games this season, Clemson ranks 21st in total offense. Okay, they're averaging 474 yards a game. They are, let's see, 12th in plays run with 315. And you compare that to last year, and hang on. Last year, they ranked 31st. So you see a 10 spot improvement in your total offense, and your long scrimmages, your plays of 10 yards or more. You're currently ranked 8th in the nation with 75. If you go back a year ago, you were 27. So to say that Garrett Riley has, not coming here and, really done an amazing job with this turnaround is just ignorant. So, you have to understand, these coaches, they are out there. They're not the ones that you know that excuse me. It's that block that led to the scoop and score. They are out there. They're not the ones that are kicking the field goals. I mean, yeah, you can argue the play calling got too conservative or whatever, but the coaches, I think, did a hell of a job in getting this team to have a chance to win the game.
My only things were, I thought they should have been better prepared at the end of the first half, knowing, to spike the ball. They should have been prepared to go up there and spike the ball instead of letting time run out. You got to do that. That's bad time mismanagement right there. And and the prevent at the end of the first half. I kind of get the thinking behind it, but it never seems to work. I don't know why coaches insist on doing it in close games. I get it if you're up 2 or 3 scores at the end of in the fourth quarter of a game, but if it's a 1-score game right before halftime, I mean, I understand you want to try to play coverage, but man, what you've been doing's been working. Why go away from it?
Yeah.
And on that final drive there when they kicked the field goal, I know everybody's talking about how conservative they got. Go back and watch that second down play. I think they got too cute, man. They faked the double reverse or whatever it was, and then went to throw a pass that got batted down. I thought they got a little too cute on third down, and I actually on second down with that play call there. So I don't even know if I don't know that I could call that conservative. Maybe you can call what they did on third down conservative. I went back and watched it again right before we jumped on because I wanted to make sure I was seeing it right. Klubnik almost bust that thing. If he gets by that first guy, he's probably getting the first down. He might even score. So, I mean, they had the right call in. The Florida State defender just made the play, man. And sometimes the other team makes the play, especially a top 5 team.
Stop. I mean, you can't come on this show and try to sound reasonable. I mean, that doesn't fly. Let's see here. I said this today, Ryan Saffron, real higher. Yeah. See, here's the thing. There is a huge difference in your coaching high school and college. And I think you're starting to realize now the learning curve that it takes just from Kyle Richardson's standpoint. I mean, he came in, as an offensive analyst and was, he was given the tight ends and passing game coordinator job after Tony Elliott left. And Jeff Scott had gone to South Florida the year before. And so, sometimes these kids are just freaks and they are ready to go. Dad talks about the, guys like Sammy Watkins who come in and they, don't need any time to cook and stuff. And you have other guys who need the extra time in the oven.
I kind of get what this guy's Big Mix is saying here, man. And it's not just Josh Sapp and Tyler Brown. You look at Colin Sadler, came out of there. He was, he if they pushed him last year, he probably could have played last year if they really needed him to. Look at Mazio Bennett. He's probably going to be ready to play when he gets to South Carolina. They've had some dudes come out of Greenville the past couple of classes.
Yeah.
I'm not all that familiar with their coaching staff there, so I can't get into all that. But I do know they've had some dudes come out of there the past 2 classes.
Yeah. However, all right, so let's kind of, I guess, take Mixed idea here, and you go and you hire another high school guy. All right, you already got Khan came from Grayson, and Richardson came from Rock Hill, was it?
Northwestern and Rock Hill.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think the fans are going to be okay with that? I mean,
no.
you have guys now who have NFL careers that they think, you know, they don't know what they are doing. Tyler Grisham was in the NFL. If anyone should know how to develop talent, and get guys, ready and prepared, it should be him, right? And he had a decent career there. Then you have your Nick Easons, I mean, the list goes on. These aren't Joe Blow guys. I think the only one that you could possibly have any grief with would be uh, Thomas Austin, who you know didn't really have the uh, uh, coaching experience before.
He had 2 years at Georgia State as offensive line coach before he came back to Clemson. Um, Spiller was a guy who had none, not even as an analyst when they named him running backs coach. And running backs, they might be one of the best coach position groups on the field. He's
Yeah,
killing
they can just learn to
They just got to pick up their
pass
pass
block.
blocks.
I
you know,
And look, this is the pass blocking from the running backs has been an issue for years.
oh yeah, this goes
So
back before Spiller.
yeah, this is not just a CJ Spiller issue. You can go all the way, as far back as you want. They have never had great, pass blocking running backs.
I mean, Travis Etienne struggled with his pass blocking for a long time. It's just something these guys have struggled with picking up for whatever reason. But outside of being weak with pass protection in times, man, I think those running backs have been well coached. Spiller's killing it on the trail, and I've been on record saying I thought this was a pretty big year for Grisham, because the wide receivers have underperformed the past 2 years, whether it be injury, poor quarterback play, lack of development, whatever the reason. I'm not sure what the reason is. But I thought those receivers needed to be better this year, and I think they have been for the most part. Sitting up where we watch, you can see guys open, see guys getting open and creating separation. There's windows for Klubnik to throw it into. I think they are playing much better than they have the past 2 years. I like the way Grisham has transformed this room too. When Jeff Scott left, the offense was heavily centered on throwing the 50-50 ball because you had a guy like Lawrence and those frisbee catching dogs like T. Higgins.
Yeah.
And since he's left, you haven't had a guy like that. And I thought the room was mostly filled with the bigger bodied, slower guys. And they've kind of transformed it over the past couple classes, got those smaller, faster, those guys with some burst and some twitch, and they got some more on the way too. There's a guy they're targeting in this 2025 class. His name's Jordan Allen, and yeah, I know he's a low 3-star. But I'm telling you, man, I watched him at camp. He might have been the best receiver I saw. He is 5'8" at most.
Hey,
but
look,
he
there
can
ain't nothing
fly.
wrong with that.
He can fly, and he has got that twitch, man. He's probably going to see his recruiting ranking shoot up before it's all said and done. Probably like David Ajamamaze is going to before the end of this season. But I'll back. I'm starting to get off on a tangent, but my original point was that I like the way, if nothing else, I like the way they've transformed this wide receiver room the past couple of years. It's not all 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", big body guys who don't have a lot of, speed. They got some twitch. They got some burst. I know Antonio Williams isn't the fastest of the guys, but he's got a little bit of twitch to him. He knows how to get open. Tyler Brown's, he seems to got it all. He's twitchy. He's fast. He's a little bit of everything.
That catch that he made was, I mean, that was a hell of a play. And then like Dow said, for him to come back into that game, show the toughness that he has. I mean, honestly, when he was coming off the field, I thought, oh crap,
Yeah,
we
I didn't
are
think he was
in
coming back.
trouble. Yeah, yeah.
They didn't let him return any more punts. But man,
Yeah.
he came back. He came back and finished, and you know that's what this Clemson team's got to learn how to do as a team. They got to learn how to finish. They got to learn how to put teams away when they got them on the ropes. They had this Florida State team on the ropes, driving down to go up 2 scores and just let it get away from them. And we've seen too much of that over the past, going back to last year.
Yeah. Yeah. Not, not sure how I feel about this comment. Yeah. I,
I don't
there
think
is,
Antonio Williams has regressed.
yeah.
I think he's better than
Yeah.
he was last year.
Yeah. I was going to say, there is a difference in regression and not progressing. I think when you talk regression, you're talking like, you know, a guy like EJ Williams comes to mind. Yeah. However, yeah, I think the these receivers haven't, regressed as much as just not, lived up to the expectations everyone has.
And I don't know if it's the fact that Tyler Grissom can't develop guys. I think Joseph Ngata, I think all those injuries severely hampered his development. I think I think injuries played a part with EJ Williams. But again, he's one of the, he's at Indiana now, still can't get on the field really. I think he's got 2 catches all season. You know, again, I'm telling you, I thought a lot about this thing Sunday because it came out of my mouth that it was almost impossible, a mathematic impossibility to have missed on all these guys. And then I got to thinking about it. And the more I thought about it, the more I'm kind of coming off of that. And I think they have missed on most of them. For whatever reason, one reason or another, most they're just not working out. Again, I think injuries played a big factor with Ngata, maybe even
Mhm.
EJ Williams. Um, I don't think Dakari Collins had to want to.
There are other issues that
Yeah, I,
he he spent time in Dallas Love Shack, like he said, and I think it was in his best interest to find a new school and just move on. But yeah, so sorry, you can carry on.
I was just saying I don't think he had to want to for whatever reason. Um, you know, maybe injuries were a factor with Frank Ladson because we all know he got hurt a lot. I think he's been hurt some more since he got to Miami. I don't know. I don't follow him that close, but it seems like I'm remembering he has been. And I think the same thing with Ajo. I think he got hurt some while he was down at South Florida. He was hurt while he was at Clemson, but he was a project when they took him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Joe, he was a guy that had played like a year of
Yeah,
football, and he was going to be a long term project, and so there are guys like that I think get lumped into these recruiting classes, and people go, obviously Grisham can't coach. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He is a wasted coach out there. When in reality, you know, the some of these guys just didn't have injuries happen. And you are seeing choice a lot around what happens when you stay the course. I mean, he is the
he,
eye. He's the opposite of those guys. He had the injuries. He could have left, and now he is coming, you know, into his own.
Yeah, he was going to be the next guy I mentioned. That was Tyler Grisham's first commitment. After getting named wide receivers coach, Stellato was the first guy he landed, and it's a guy that's been hurt for 2 years. He's finally getting on the field for the first time. I think injuries have played a big part in what we've seen, go on with the wide receivers. I'm not saying that's all of it. I just think that's been a big part of it. And most of those guys have been healthy this year, and we're seeing them be more productive. You know, outside, I was expecting more from Bo Collins this year.
Yeah,
You know,
I think we
we
all
haven't
are.
seen it. And I'll say the same thing about Anna Brandel. He is not the same dude pre ACL injury. That's a guy I watched a lot of. He looks like, I've said it 100 times, he looks like he's running in quicksand out there. I don't know if it's still something from, you got to keep in mind he's had both knees operated on now within a year period. Um, I don't know if it's mental or he's something still lingering from one of those knees, but he just does not look like the same dude. So I know in some way, somehow, that those knee injuries has got something to have something to do with what we seeing with Adam Randall, because he does not look like the same guy that I watched in high school. Not even close. It's a night and day difference. And I've heard from people up there around, the team, that he does not look like the same guy from spring last year before the ACL.
Yeah, yeah. He looks like he is so timid. Even when it comes to blocking, it is like he wants no part of the physicality of playing a receiver. Yeah, this team. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and in high school, he used to play safety, man, and it'd be like he was head hunting out there. He was looking for that physicality, and we have not seen that at Clemson at all.
Yeah, yeah. And now Vegas and says this team is better than 21 and 22 Clemson. Hell yeah, they are. Yeah, they are head and shoulders better than those teams. Dow has said, in fact, he said today, this team is better than the 2016 team. It's just the luck hasn't gone their way. Honestly, I will say this. Cade Klubnik grew up in front of our eyes against the FSU. He he looks like the guy that we anticipated seeing at the start of the season. He was decisive. He was leading the team. He, stepped up into the pocket and made some hell of throws. I, you know, he he is, I think, coming into his own. In fact, not sure if y'all have heard this or not, but Dow said that Charlie Whitehurst was at the game, and after the game, he specifically saw out clothing because he told Dow that he has a very special quarterback there. So, honestly, I think this team is very low, these last two teams. And look, we are getting, really far ahead of ourselves. There is still a path for this team to make it to the ACC championship. And I guarantee you that FSU wants no part of playing Clemson again, or any team for that matter. I mean,
No, they don't. That Clemson's the one team they don't want to see in Charlotte. There is a path there. They're going to need a lot of help. Obviously, Duke's going to have to drop 3 games. You're going to have to beat Miami, Syracuse, and have all of them drop another game too, and North Carolina. But there's a path there. It might be an unlikely path, but there is a path there. And yeah, I'm with you. I guarantee you, Florida State has no interest in seeing Clemson and Charlotte in because they know what we all know. Clemson outplayed them. Clemson was a better team. Clemson gave it away at the end. And you know, after this team gets a little bit more experienced, I'm not sure you can count on them giving away games at the rate they have been to start the season.
Yeah, and honestly, let's look at this thing here. I mean, I fully understand that sitting here at 2-2 is not, what everyone envisioned to start the season. If you run the table and finish 10-2, a chance for 11th win in your bowl game, I mean, that's a hell of a year for a young team who is going to return nearly everyone on offense. I mean, you want to talk about a scary ass team next year? This team, you know, could strike fear into a lot of teams.
Yeah, they're going to lose some players off that defense, but that offense is
Yeah.
going to be scary, man. That offense will be scary come next year. You get, especially when you get those two wide receivers that are coming, because those are two
Yeah.
dudes, man. TJ Moore and Bryant Westco. I think both of those are, you know, just superstars waiting to get here.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are guys that this summer, we said, those are plug and play guys. Those are easy wake up guys, get in here and just turn loose.
Those are the guys, kind of receivers this offense has sorely lacked to pass since T. Higgins left.
Yeah.
They've not had a guy like that.
Yeah. And, you had Higgins, you had Ross, you had Williams, you just had all those frizzy catching dogs. And I think you are starting to see Clemson get back to that. I mean, the other news coming out of Dow's call-in show last night and his press conference today was they are removing the red shirt from Rowan in half. And he lost Cole Turner for the season. And so now, you have Hampton who look, he is a legit guy. He is a guy that can help you out.
Absolutely agree. He is a guy that kind of gets overlooked in that last recruiting class. Maybe because he didn't play against the strongest competition up there in Massachusetts. But we're talking about a guy that was a top 250 talent overall. Big body guy who can run. He's probably faster than most people think. He's 6'2", 6'3", if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And this is not only a product of Cole Turner being injured, but I guarantee you, the Adam Randall's lack of production to date factored into this decision too. Had to. I know Dabo's talking about him playing on special teams. I'm willing to bet we're going to see him get some opportunities to, catching the ball at some point.
Yeah, and honestly, I keep coming back to him because it's just such a great story. I mean, Troy Stellato, he is, growing up right, in front of us. We are seeing the guy that was so highly recruited by all those other teams. And,
14 snaps Saturday, caught balls on 4 of those snaps.
yeah, and see, he has no fear. He had, and coming off the injuries that he has come off of, if anyone should have that fear, it should be him. But he is out there rolling out every single play. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me at all to see, Collins and Stellato and Brown all out there at the same time. I mean,
Oh,
you have, if you're down, you have to get the best guys on the field.
yeah, I agree. I think you're going to start seeing more and more of Troy Stellato. It's easy to forget the guy ain't played a game, or not just not played a game, hasn't really practiced in 2 years. So it's not surprising that you're not seeing a ton of him yet. But I guarantee you're going to start seeing a little bit more of him every week as he gets back into game shape. And this is a guy you can tell by listening to him. He's hungry, man, and he's kind of got a little bit of chip on his shoulder. He said, after that, I forget if it was Charleston. So I think it was the Charleston Southern game. He
Yeah.
said he kind of feels like the forgotten man in that room. He feels like he's got something to prove to some people. And I'm with you. I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of him going forward.
Yeah, I mean,
It might
yeah,
be in increments. They might be building up to it, but I think we're going to start seeing more and more and more.
yeah. I mean, he is, and the thing is, he is only a sophomore. He is a redshirt sophomore, so you get him, for 2 more years, and like I have said, this offense is going to be scary as hell next year. Yeah, I think this year this team needs to honestly just learn to win. They need to learn to finish the job, you know, and come away from some of these games with wins. Dow is not a moral victory guy. He understands the fans' disappointment. But look, there is still a ton to play for. This team, look, they still have games against a ranked Miami, a ranked UNC, a ranked Notre Dame, all looming. And if you can win those games, I promise you that you'll end up, somewhere in that top 15 at the end of the season. And, you'll have a ton of recruiting momentum.
Yeah, and they need a little bit of momentum recruiting wise before they need. Most of this class right now is locked up, but still working on a couple of offensive linemen. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out because I think Clemson's recruited fairly well on the offensive line, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think probably more talent in that room than Dabo's ever had right now. If there was ever going to be a class where they could afford to, if there was going to be a class where they were going to miss on a bunch of guys, this might have needed to be the one because I think they're set up well for the next couple of years. But they're going to have to hit on some guys next year, and if they miss on the ones they're targeting now, they're going to have to hit on at least one or two more than they were anticipating. And you can kind of tell they're already preparing for that because they've already offered 12. They've already offered 12 offensive linemen in 2025. I think they offered two more over the weekend. So that pool that they are fishing in is not quite as small as it usually is, with offensive linemen. They've kind of expanded it a little bit for 2025, and I expect it to start expanding even more as we get further along into the process.
Yeah. As always, want to remind everyone, click that subscribe, you know, thing down there, wherever it is. Not sure if it's on the left side or right side. do us a huge favor. Click that subscribe and click that like button. Leave a comment. It helps us out immensely. Uh, you know, not sure if I understand where this comment came from.
I think he's talking about
Yeah.
us talking about Adam Randall playing timid.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And it goes
uh,
back to us talking about the red shirt coming off of Hannafin.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I yeah. The thing is, you can only go with who you got. And these coaches, like we have said, yeah, they aren't out there trying to lose the game. They're out there trying to call, a play, they, they, I can guarantee you want to win more than anyone because their job's on the line. So they're always going to put the guys that they think can help them on the field. So,
I
yeah.
agree. There's a reason. There's a reason why they're redshirting Noble Johnson. Reason
Yeah.
why they're redshirting Team Kelly. There's a reason why they wanted a redshirt Ronan Hannafin. If they thought those guys were ready to help right now and contribute, make immediate big time impacts, they'd be on the field, man. I don't think this coaching staff's intentionally holding anybody back because of seniority or favoritism or anything like that. Now it might take a little bit of longer than fans like, but usually it seems to me like most of the time the best players end up on the field. We're seeing it with TJ Parker. He might not be starting,
Mhm.
but he's playing as many or more snaps than Justin Maskell most weeks because he's just as productive, if not more. There's been a few games he's been the best defensive end on the field. Peter Woods is playing a bunch of snaps because he's one of the best defensive tackles on the team, and he's already passed a couple of those other guys get by. And it's not because they're not any good; it's just because he's better. Um, so there's a reason why they wanted to redshirt those guys because they, in all honesty, they probably needed a year. Probably needed a year to acclimate, needed a year in the weight room. Those only Noble Johnson's the only wide receiver that enrolled early, and it was obvious in the spring he was going to need a year. He just kind of
Mhm.
looked lost out there at times, but I wouldn't expect like it comes back to you say you got to go with who you got. I think Hannafin's going to get some opportunities, but I mean, right now you got kind of got to roll with what you got. And again, I think we're going to start seeing more of Stellato. I think we're going to start seeing when Antonio gets back, we're going to see him roll outside some
Mhm.
so they can get him and Brown both on the field at the same time. Um, so I agree with, you got to get the best players on the field, but, right now you're dealing with an injury to Antonio. You're dealing with a Troy Stellato who's barely practiced in 2 years and a Ronan Hannafin who you wanted a red shirt. So, I mean, you kind of got to roll with who you got at this point in time and work those guys in, slowly.
Yeah, I mean, this is a wide receiver that has just been snake bit. The last few years, you know, you go back to last year's ball game and you're running, you know, I think it was Drew Sweeney out there as a star against Tennessee. You know, these things come in cycles, the injuries. And look, Clemson is just on the the uh, wrong side of one. I mean, Cole Turner tearing three, muscles. That is almost unheard of.
That
I
is some
mean,
unfortunate luck right there,
yeah,
man.
yeah. I mean, yeah. And if you remember last year, you know, Turner and Klubnik really got, got their uh, stuff together, and are a deadly combination. So, I think that as the injuries kind of turn and the turnovers kind of turn, I mean, look, there cannot be a more unlucky team than Clemson when it comes to the turnovers. You're talking, and you had a 99-yard scoop and score for a touchdown against Duke, and a 41-yard scoop and score. I mean, that is stuff that, honestly only happens in movies. And right now, Clemson is in this horror story of a movie. Yeah, they they're really just going to have to, you know, uh, play their way out of it.
Exactly what I was going to say. I'm not sure what else you can do, man. You can only do so much in practice. You gotta keep sending them out there and let them play their way through it. And at some point, just like Dabo Sweeney said the other day, the worm's going to turn. I kind of tend to buy into that. I don't think this team's going to keep turning the ball over at the rate it has, especially not the pick sixes and the scooping scores. Of course they're going to turn the ball over at times, but I just don't think it's going to be these back-breaking turnovers that we've seen, against Duke and against Florida State. Heck, even against Florida Atlantic, there was the pick six and the scoop and score that was almost returned for a touchdown. Um, I think that worm's going to turn and it's going to kind of level out.
Yeah, I mean, everything always regresses to the mean, so, yeah, this team, I think, is still extremely talented. I think they are, this is the most promising group that we have seen in 3 years. And I think, as they continue to get confidence and see things slowly turn their way, I think this could be a very, very dangerous team moving forward.
Absolutely. 2021, 2022, watching those seasons play out, it kind of felt like this program was maybe on a downward trajectory, right? They're kind of falling off from where they were. Now, I think what we're watching is that trend reversing, and now they're on this upward trajectory. And they're just not getting there as fast as the fans want them to. They're not getting back to where they were as fast as the fans want them to. And I think they have pieces in place. I think more help is on the way within regards to this 2023 class that's coming in. 2024 class that'll be coming in for next year. But I think there are, again, pieces in place, and I think they're on the way back. We'll just see if they can get all the way back. But I think the trajectory is going back up now as opposed to going down the past 2 years.
Yeah, yeah. Our good friend, Paul Feynman, came out yesterday and said that, you know, Clemson is done. They are, no longer the team that they once were, and this downward trajectory is only starting. It's going to be very interesting to see what he says, next year and the year after that. Because, like you said, I think, the injuries, the turnovers, all this stuff that look, for 7 years, almost Clemson, you know, didn't deal with injuries. They didn't deal with, turnover issues. Or when they did, they weren't, these detrimental things. You know, it, it is simply a cycle. People forget that Trevor Lawrence in 2020 threw interceptions left and right through the first 6 games. There are people going, what is wrong with him? Why can't he, turn the ball over? And then all of a sudden it started to slowly turn. And, Clemson went on to get their ass kicked by LSU in the national championship. But
Same thing with Deshaun Watson in
yeah,
2016.
yeah,
He was throwing all
yeah,
kinds of interceptions over the first 2/3 of the season.
yeah, yeah. And so, I think that, like, you have said, that Dow has said, that if the fans can just calm down, you know, and get off this, roller coaster and try to take a 30,000-foot view of this program, I think he'll be very excited for where it is heading and the trajectory that we are on. Because, I see this, next year your playoffs go to 12 teams, and, you're going to, uh, more likely than not, be in the running for one of those.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Again, we talked about it earlier. Fans want the quick fix. Sometimes there's not a quick fix, and you're not. Everybody had high expectations going into this season. We all thought Clemson was going to be competing for a playoff spot. Here we are. It's not even October. They're 2-2, and they're out of that talk. But I'm with you, man. If you just take a step back and take a look at it from a big picture perspective, you gotta like the direction things are heading. You've after 2 years of just piss poor quarterback play, you've got your guy in place now. He's young. This is his first full year as the starter. He's only a sophomore. He's a guy that could easily be here all 4 years and not leave early. So you got him a minimum of at least one more year after this, very possibly two more. You got to like the way things are headed. They're absolutely heading in the right direction, as opposed to the last 2 years where it kind of felt like they had kind of fallen off and kind of stagnated and just kind of mired in this lull they couldn't get out of. And now I think we're starting to see themselves pick themselves up out of that lull and start moving back towards where they once were. It's just not. It's just going to take a little bit longer than the fans had wanted it to take.
I completely agree. I think, that I guess, the consensus of the day is that firing everyone is not needed. That, just take a step back, understand the 30,000-foot view of it. And, this team is going to be okay.
Yeah, I absolutely am on board with not firing people in September. Make no mistake. It's September.
I
It's
agree. There is still tons of football to play. There is still tons of ranked teams out there that Clemson's going to get their chance at. And we will be here to cover it all for you. Make sure that you check us out on allclemsontires.com for news and analysis. Also, Death Valley domain for all of Jason's recruiting insights, as well as analysis and thought stuff that you won't get from anyone else. Check us out there, like and subscribe, and we'll be back tomorrow night at 7 o'clock to fire everyone again. So, for Jason, I am Zach. Thank you so much to everyone that got in tonight. We appreciate it. As always, have an awesome night.